There are fewer than 4,000 wild tigers left on Earth. Each one weighs up to 300 kilograms. Each one can bring down prey twice its own size. Each one has a bite force that crushes bone. And each one is carrying something it cannot remove. Not a predator, not a competitor. A parasite embedded in the one place the most powerful cat in the jungle cannot reach. The stripe boundary. The tiger's coat is not decoration. The orange and black stripe pattern is one of the most recognizable markings in nature. But the stripes are not just colour. They are two entirely different skin zones meeting at a boundary line. The orange zones, slightly thicker skin, more densely haired, warmer. The black zones, slightly thinner skin at the stripe edge, the hair finer at the transition point. And at the boundary between them, exactly where the orange meets the black, the skin changes. The hair density changes. The temperature changes. The blood vessels are closest to the surface, right at the transition line. This is where ticks find the tiger. Not randomly, not across the whole coat. At the stripe boundaries. The warm transition zones where the skin changes and the blood is closest. On a heavily infested tiger, the tick load at the stripe boundaries can reach into the hundreds. Clusters at every neck fold, every leg joint, every ear base, always at the boundary, always at the transition. The tiger cannot scratch its own neck. Its paws reach the lower body. The tongue reaches the legs and belly. Nothing reaches the neck stripe boundary, the deepest, most infested zone on the most powerful predator in the jungle. The common myna, Acridothyres tristis, is not what you expect on a tiger. It is a medium-sized bird, dark brown body, black head, a vivid yellow eye patch behind the eye, a bare yellow skin patch that gives it an alert, almost aggressive expression. White wing patches visible in flight, an orange-yellow bill, orange-yellow legs. It is a generalist, a bird that eats almost anything. Insects, fruit, scraps, carrion. Found in grasslands, forest edges, human settlements. Not a specialist cleaner in the way the oxpecker is. But the myna has learned something the oxpecker learned long ago on the African savanna. That the large animals of the jungle carry a food source that goes untouched, because nothing disturbs it. The myna lands on the tiger's shoulder. The tiger does not react. This is the extraordinary part, not the landing, but the non-reaction. 300 kilograms of apex predator, the animal that has no natural predator in any jungle on Earth, and it allows a medium-sized bird to land on its shoulder as if the bird was simply part of the world, because it is. The myna moves immediately, not exploring, not learning, working. It knows the stripe boundary. It has worked this boundary before on this tiger, on other tigers, on the deer and water buffalo and gore that share this jungle. The boundary between two skin zones is always the feeding site. On every large animal, the myna works. The myna reaches the neck fold, the deepest crease where the tiger's neck meets the shoulder. At the stripe boundary in this fold, the densest tick cluster on the tiger's body. The bill works fast, the orange-yellow bill opening, gripping a tick at the base, extracting cleanly. The tick gone in under 3 seconds. The bill back immediately. The tiger holds still, not from trust, not from gratitude, from the same deep biological knowledge that the rhino carries, that the crocodile carries, that the small weight moving across the neck is doing something the neck cannot do for itself. The myna works the stripe boundary systematically, following the transition line between orange and black, finding the ticks where the skin changes, extracting what has accumulated at every boundary point along the neck. The most powerful cat in the jungle. Holding still for a bird that weighs less than its smallest claw. The most extraordinary moment in this cleaning arrangement is not on the neck. It is at the ear. The tiger's ear, large, rounded, mobile, rotates to catch sound from 300 degrees. Inside the ear and at the ear base fold, the warmest, most sheltered zone on the tiger's head. The skin here is thinner than anywhere else on the body. The blood vessels almost at the surface. Ear mites live here. Ticks live here. Flies find the moisture at the inner ear margin and feed there constantly. The tiger cannot reach its own ear interior, cannot clean what lives inside the fold at the ear base. The Myna enters the ear, not the deep canal, the outer ear fold, the interior of the ear cup, the zone where the ear skin folds against itself at the base. The Myna's bill works here with the same professional indifference the remora shows inside the shark's jaw. The indifference of something that has never needed to register danger in this space. The tiger's ear does not close. It rotates very slightly, toward the Myna, not away, offering better access, an involuntary response, the biological knowledge of what is useful. The Myna weighs 120 grams. The tiger weighs 250 kilograms. The ratio is 2,000 to 1. And the arrangement works, as it has worked for as long as large cats and small birds have shared the same jungle floor. Not just with tigers, with lions and oxpeckers in Africa, with jaguars and cowbirds in South America, with elephants and egrets across both continents. Every large animal that cannot clean itself has found a small bird that can. The bird gets food it cannot find anywhere else. The animal gets cleaned in the zones it cannot reach. Neither chose this. The Myna did not evolve specifically to clean tigers. It is a generalist that learned an available food source. The tiger did not decide to allow the bird. It simply stopped reacting to a presence that caused no harm and provided measurable relief. 4,000 tigers, each one still carrying this ancient arrangement in a jungle that is getting smaller every year. The bird lands, the tiger holds still, the boundary gets cleaned, as it always has. By late afternoon, the Myna has moved on. It will work 3 more animals before dark. A sambar deer at the waterhole, a water buffalo in the grass, whatever large body it finds at the jungle edge. The tiger rises. It stretches, the full length of 300 kilograms extending across the forest floor. The stripe pattern catching the last golden light through the canopy. The neckfold tick burden reduced. The earfold cleared. The stripe boundaries worked. It moves into the jungle, unhurried. The most powerful predator in this ecosystem, and the one that just held still for a 120-gram bird. There are fewer than 4,000 wild tigers left. The poaching that reduced them from 100,000 a century ago targeted the coat. The extraordinary orange and black stripe pattern that covered the jungle's apex predator and ended up on walls and floors instead. The coat that the Myna still lands on. The stripe boundary the Myna still works. The arrangement that has continued through everything that tried to end it. Through the century of hunting, through the loss of the forests, through the reduction from 100,000 to 4,000. Still here, the bird still landing, the tiger still allowing, the boundary still being cleaned, as it always has been, as it always will be, If the 4,000 become 5,000, if the jungle holds, if there is still a tiger for the bird to land on.